you can turn your LinkedIn profile into a UX interview machine. One of the trends I'm seeing right now is that people who take the time to optimize their LinkedIn profile are able to stand out and literally be found on LinkedIn. And I know that LinkedIn feels like a dumpster fire. I know that you often hate spending time on LinkedIn. And at the same time, that is where recruiters and hiring managers hang out and often look for candidates. So, if you want to get more interviews and potentially job offers in Q1, the time to start doing some of this optimization work on your LinkedIn profile is like right now. So, I'm going to go over tips and strategies that you can use to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that people can find you. I just want to look over at my other monitor to make sure that all the tech is working. So, I'm just going to pop to my LinkedIn to confirm that it is streaming live because I've never streamed it live officially to Riverside or from Riverside to LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time. All right, it's working. I don't believe that I can see your comments on LinkedIn and YouTube unless I click over. So I'm going to run through this. And then at the end, I will pop over to the LinkedIn comments and the YouTube comments and see if there are any questions. So rest assured, we're going to move pretty fast, but I will save some time at the end to answer some questions. And the first thing I need to do is share my screen. So give me a moment here, and we don't want that. All right, share screen, share screen. And we want to share a window. We want to share this. Great. Then I'm going to change the layout so you guys can still see me. How about that? It would be nice if we could make me be on the left. Of course, you can't do that. So, we're just gonna do this. Is that, let's do this. It doesn't cover up too much. Man, the user experience here, like I want myself to be on the left because I can do that when I'm editing. But anyway, guys, we'll stop redesigning the UX of Riverside and get started. So, how do we SEO optimize your LinkedIn profile so recruiters and hiring managers can find you? We're going to move pretty quick. I'm going to go over why LinkedIn is a search engine, and more than likely, you're not thinking about it as a search engine. I'm noticing that, of course, I am covering the slides here. So let's do that. All right, LinkedIn is a search engine, not just a professional network. Second thing we're going to cover is best practices around SEO that you can apply to your LinkedIn profile. You've probably heard of the acronym SEO, but do you really understand how to leverage it in your job search? Probably not. And then we're going to go over some basics of how the LinkedIn algorithm works based on what LinkedIn tells us in their help articles. And I'm going to give you a challenge to take action because if you know me, I'm all about not just giving you information. I really want you to take action. So, in case we haven't met yet, I'm Sarah Duty. I've been working in UX research and product design for the past 22 years. I'm also the host of the Career Strategy podcast. And I also am the founder of something called Career Strategy Lab, which is a UX job search accelerator and career coaching program for people in UX and product. And when people follow my tips and strategies in that program, they get hired with average salary increases of 5 figures. The Hired Bot is my favorite Slack channel. And these are just some examples of these 5-figure salary increases that people see when they follow the job search strategies that I designed inside Career Strategy Lab. So, LinkedIn is a search engine, not just a professional network, right? And what I mean is search engines are where people go to find information, and LinkedIn is the place where recruiters and hiring managers go to find candidates, right? And in the same way that you type something into Google or whatever, and you're searching for something and you make a decision in split seconds about whether or not to click on something or not, they're doing the same. When they're typing into the search bar in LinkedIn or over in LinkedIn Recruiter, they're really making decisions in split seconds in that list of hundreds or thousands of people that show up when they do searches. And so if you want to stand out, number one, if you want to show up in those search results, if you want to increase the chances that they click on you in the search results, we need to optimize our profile, right? And there are things you can do to increase the odds that you show up, just like SEO, which we're going to talk about in a second. Now, SEO, search engine optimization, there's a lot to it. I am not an expert at this, but I know enough to make it work for me and my career and my business and what I teach in Career Strategy Lab in terms of our LinkedIn sprint. It works because people report back to me that after they implement some of these changes, recruiters and hiring managers are finding them on LinkedIn. They're getting interviews, they're getting hired without applying. How? It's because recruiters and hiring managers found them on LinkedIn. I just want to check one tech thing. Okay. So I want to do a brief little demo here of search engine optimization in action. And then I'm going to show you how it applies to your LinkedIn profile. So to do this, though, I have to share my screen, a separate window. So give me a sec here. We need to stop that. We need to bring this one over. All right. I didn't rig this. I just I did the search in advance because I didn't want to have to fill out a CAPTCHA and choose the images that contain a bus or whatever. Okay, share screen. I want to share window. I want to share the entire this one. All right. So, search engine optimization in action. So, I myself have been doing some search engine optimization for my own business in the past 2, 3 months. And one of the things that I wanted to do was try and increase the chances that myself and my company, Career Strategy Lab, showed up when people were searching for a career coach. So, I've done a search UX career coach for senior professionals. And 3 months ago, it did not look like this. But now, guess what? In the AI snippets, I am showing up in a lot of this. This little logo, the purple, that's me. And if we click on this link, that purple Career Strategy Lab, that's me. And it's going to my webpage called Career Coaching for Senior UX Professionals. And if we go down, these links, this one, this one also linking to me. And then if we keep going down more, there I am again. If we go down, here I am here, here, and then here again. And sometimes there's videos, but not today. So that is the power of SEO. And how did I get this to happen? Some people think I have hired like a marketing agency to do my SEO. I haven't. This is just basic knowledge that is pretty simple to implement if you know the basics of SEO. So how did I do it? I thought about number one, my audience. What are they typing into Google? So I created this page called Career Coaching for Senior UX Professionals. And then if we go down here, I'm logged into WordPress right now. I guess I'll log out. But when I made this page, let's go back. I was really intentional about the content of this page because the way that search engine optimization works, it's crawling, right? It's crawling or reading the information on the page and trying to figure out, is this page relevant to the thing that someone typed in over here, right? That's how it works. And so when I worked on this page, I was really intentional about the sections, questions people might have regarding this, right? Specific to this person of a senior UX person looking for career coaching. And the early numbers are showing that this is very valuable because a lot of people are inquiring about working with me because they literally came from this page because they found it from a Google search. How do I know that? Because I asked them. So that is the power of SEO in action. We don't have like tons of time to go into the details of it, but I'm gonna distill down what you need to know to help you show up in search results on LinkedIn. So here are some of the best practices. Number one, um, it's going to impact, we're going to get to the best practices in a second, but it's going to impact if you show up in search results, if people click on you in those search results, and also too how long they spend on your profile page. Because in the same way that I optimize this page, I have other pages on my website that are less kind of specific than this one in terms of career coaching. This one, people spend a lot of time on. Why do they do that? My hunch is because the information on it is highly relevant to a more senior person. They're spending time on it, right? And so we can apply that same strategy and logic to your LinkedIn profile. There's really three parts of your LinkedIn profile that I want to address. Part number one is your LinkedIn headline. So we're really going to be honing in on the content, the words on your LinkedIn profile, because that is really what LinkedIn's algorithms are reading, are crawling, parsing to decide if you're going to show up in search results or not. So, LinkedIn headline profile. The number one thing you need to know is if you don't customize your headline, which is the text below your name, it's just going to default to your current title and company. These are real. I took screenshots. LinkedIn profiles are public, so I didn't blur anything out. So these are real. And all three of these people are a great example of people that did not customize their headline, and it's defaulting to job title and company. So product design at Slack, data analyst at Learn Data or Lean Data, product at Netflix. Great, but it could be a lot better. Let's look at another example here. So these are also bad examples because they are telling us information that a recruiter or hiring manager is not necessarily looking for or interested in. And so a lot of you may have LinkedIn profile headlines where you're trying to show your personality and tell us about like your personal life, but recruiters and hiring managers are not typing that into LinkedIn, right? So Zach, design slicing through complexity and crafting delight. No recruiters searching for like designer who slices through complexity, right? Jessica, this one got a little blurred, but it says idea to execution and everything in between, lifelong philanthropist, dog mom. No one's searching for like a designer who is a dog mom, for example, right? And this one, UX UI designer, cat enthusiast, right? They're not looking for designers who like cats. Yet, when I did a search on LinkedIn, I don't know why these are all blurred, guys. I'm sorry. But when I did a search on LinkedIn, this is a search for dog mom, and all these profiles have something along the lines of product designer who's a dog mom. One of them says senior UX designer, visual interaction designer, dog mom. And it's like no one's searching for dog mom. The point of this slide, even though it's blurry, is to remind you that the bar to stand out on LinkedIn is actually really low because so many people do a not good job of doing their LinkedIn headlines. So let's look at an example of good headlines. These are better because the headline is communicating more details and context about that person's professional experience. So a couple of examples here. Lorna, senior UX writer, content designer, and strategist specializing in fintech and healthcare. Great. Kristen, senior experience designer and researcher, 9 years across UX, CX, service design, human-centered innovation for climate, social impact, education, and connection. Marcus, senior designer and UX designer, 8 years driving innovation and impact in e-commerce, government, health, and education. So as you can see, these headlines don't just tell us like a job title or the area that this person works in. It also provides some additional context. Sometimes it's types of companies, sometimes it's industries, sometimes it's years of experience, but all of these are much more effective than UX researcher who loves dogs, right? Because no one's searching for that. So, um, little quiz here, just to make my point. Like, if you were a recruiter and you're searching for an experienced designer, who are you going to click in search results? Like, you've typed into LinkedIn, senior experienced designer, and a bunch of people come up, and there's these two that are kind of at the top of the list. Are you clicking Kristen? Or are you clicking Anna? Kristen's says senior experienced designer and researcher, 9 years across UX, CX, service design, human-centered innovation for climate, social impact, education, and connection. And Anna's says senior experienced designer, humane technologist, dog mom, right? If we put ourselves in the shoes of the user, the busy recruiter or hiring manager, they are going through the search results so fast. And, there's that book by Steve Krug, Don't Make Me Think. By including more context about you in your headline, you are educating and communicating to people more about your experience before they ever need to click to your LinkedIn profile, right? And Kristen is way more likely to be clicked in search results than Anna because Kristen has given the recruiter or hiring manager more information and context to decide if Kristen is a fit for their role they're hiring for or not. Okay, next section is your about section. So that is, further down your profile. The mistake I see so many people make is that number one, their about section could be the same as that of hundreds of other UX people. It's full of vague statements, lots of boilerplate language about connecting business goals with user needs and creating products people love. Um, that is not specific to you, right? And if you are trying to stand out, you need to put more information in your about section that is specific to you, right? In the same way that when I created my page about career coaching for senior UX professionals, all these words that I wrote, they're very specific to that senior person. And it talks about what I do, etc. It's not just like helping people create a career they love through coaching, blah, 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 right? It's really specific text if you actually read it. And so for your about section, we need to avoid ones like this. I'm not going to read this, but the first sentence, right? As a UX designer who seeks the creation of human-centric projects, I help design experiences through process of content strategy and user behavior. By empathizing, this, that, the other. It's like, it's great that you do that, but it's far too vague and general to stand out. Another example, if your about section is too short, right? Because when you think of search engine optimization, it's about the quality of the content on a page and the quantity of it, right? If my career coaching page only had this text, that's all, this is not going to show up in search results. It's not enough literal information to for Google to decide if this page is truly about senior UX professional career coaching and if it has quality, high enough quality information to return it over here, right? And the same applies to your LinkedIn profile. If your about section is just one or two sentences, you're not giving the algorithm enough information to decide if you are a match for whatever that recruiter or hiring manager typed in. Also, you have to think of the humans too, right? SEO is, of course, optimizing to get into search results, but humans look at search results. And so, from the perspective of a recruiter or hiring manager, if your about section is only one or two sentences, they're probably not going to have enough context to decide if you are a right fit for that role. And if your about section looks like this and it's super short, you are selling yourself short, hands down. So, um, next problem. We already talked about this, but vague and specifics are too vague, not specific enough, right? This one, better. We're not going to read this whole thing, but essentially, this is giving more quantity of information, higher quality of information. It's also very specific. It's not, I'm Natalie, I want to connect business and user goals to change the world. Listen to the first sentence. I'm Natalie, a product and strategic designer with 12 years of experience designing end to end for B2B, B2C, SaaS, healthcare, and I'm not going to read the rest. She goes on to give what might even be some examples through probably um, bullet points from her resume, or at least they sound like they could be bullet points from a resume. This is far more valuable than just what we saw before, right? Another example, this person, um, let's read the first part. I solve messy human problems through thoughtful design. Over the past 8 years, I've helped businesses and organizations create services that actually work for people, from making tax systems less painful to an eBay or at eBay to building healthcare tools that support military service members, blah, blah, blah. That is specific, right? Like if I'm hiring someone for a product designer role in finance, and in the first sentence and a half, I read that this person has worked on tax systems, my radar is up. I'm like, whoa, they might be a fit for this product designer role I'm hiring for my finance company, right? So that is what I mean when I say we have to focus on the quantity and the quality of the information to essentially feed the algorithm, but also give the humans who are going to look at this enough information to decide, should they reach out to you about a role, should they contact you, etc. The next mistake that I see people make is their profile banner. Now, is the LinkedIn algorithm reading the banner? To my knowledge, it's not. Maybe it is, but as of right now, I don't believe it is, according to what I've read. But humans are going to look at it. And if you do not have a banner at the top of your LinkedIn profile, you are wasting space on your profile. You're wasting an opportunity to further communicate your skills, specifics about you that could help catch the attention and interest of someone who ends up on your profile page. So, Celeste has nothing, lost opportunity. Anne has a picture of water. Nice picture, but it's totally wasted space because it's not telling us anything about Anne. Like, as you think of your profile banner, think to yourself, even if someone did not scroll past the first, part of my profile, what would I want them to know about me, right? And try and make that headline, the text below your name, and that banner communicate those things, right? But this one I see all the time. People putting photos of like their dog, their kids, their hobbies, whatever. And it's like totally wasted space, wasted opportunity. These are better. Some of them are better than others, but I just want to show you a range. These are random. I just randomly pulled these from LinkedIn. Josh, at least we know that Josh does something at an agency, maybe owns it, has a book and a podcast. Okay. This one, AI for Good. Clear to me. Leaves, I don't really know what Pete does necessarily, but it's better than a lake, right? This one, NAMI. So NAMI's, it's really small, but NAMI is a designer, and then she has kind of three little pieces of metadata, I guess we could say, based in Orange County, 3 years of experience design for certain industries, and bachelor of something that I can't read. So that is great. So I don't have to scroll all the way down NAMI's page to know that NAMI has 3 years of experience, that has a bachelor's. So hopefully you get my examples here. Marcus, another example. Even if I don't scroll past here, I know that Marcus is a service designer, also does UX, has 8 years of experience in e-commerce, government, health, and education. Amazing, right? So those are some examples. I want to give you a little tip around how the LinkedIn algorithm works. I'm also going to point you to a LinkedIn help article which explains this. There is a thing called LinkedIn Recruiter that recruiters can pay for. Inside LinkedIn Recruiter, there is a thing called Spotlight. It's what you would expect, right? It's highlighting certain candidates. You can filter by who's spotlighted or not. And if you think of LinkedIn Recruiter, and it's a feature or product people pay for, in order to make recruiters keep paying to have access for LinkedIn Recruiter, I think it's safe to say LinkedIn wants to give recruiters candidates who might be more likely to reply, right? To be actively looking for jobs. And so spotlights, which I'm going to link you to, are things that are factored into whether you are spotlighted or not. It's things such as turning on open to work, being active on LinkedIn by posting and liking, etc. Also, following companies that you apply to, engaging with their posts, engaging with people who work at companies where you have applied. There is a lot more to it, but I am going to drop in the chat, which I guess I'll have to go to LinkedIn and YouTube separately. I'm going to drop it in the chat here, or you can just Google like LinkedIn Spotlight. It will take you here. But because I know you're probably waiting for it, I will go over here and drop it in the chat. So give me a sec. I'll go to LinkedIn first and then YouTube. Here's about spotlights on LinkedIn. Oops. There we go. Then I got to go put it on YouTube. Let me do that. And then, or if you're on to YouTube, just come to LinkedIn. But I'm going to find how to do this on YouTube. But I'm going to click into it, and then I'm going to have to mute it so you don't have to hear me talking to myself. Like that. There we go. So now back to my slides. Okay, so that's a big one. There are a lot of things in there. Also, if you're like, someone told me turning on LinkedIn open to work is going to make me look bad, desperate, undesirable. Totally false, total BS. Read that help article. It specifically says that open to work is one of the factors that get considered when, whether you're going to get spotlit or not. So there you go. Okay, so I said we're going to take action here. So you've learned very quickly some of the mistakes that people make with their LinkedIn headlines, about sections, banners. There is more to it, but I just kept it to that. We could have talked about work experience. We could have talked about what to post on LinkedIn. We don't have time for that right now. But in the spirit of taking action, I really challenge you to write down, identify one change you can make to make your LinkedIn profile more search engine optimization friendly, right? And you might think this is overkill, but I work with a lot of job seekers who come to me after struggling with their job search for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 2 years. And like, there's often this element of procrastination that happens. And so I would say it's one thing to say you're going to change one thing on your profile. It's another thing to actually do it. So in order to do it right now, or send yourself an email, put it on your calendar so you have like a little 15-minute window, tomorrow or something to make this change that you're going to make. I don't care what it is, just make one of the changes. if it were me, the change that I would make would be my LinkedIn headline. Number one, it's probably going to be the fastest, faster than you're about, faster than making a banner. But I think if you could dial that in, that's going to start to help you identify what information needs to go in your about section, for example, or your banner graphic. So quick recap here. LinkedIn, you have to start treating it like a search engine. Literally, when people do this, they start to have people reach out to them. I'm going to link you to a podcast episode about Laura. Laura got hired. She didn't even apply to the job. The VP of product reached out to her on LinkedIn because he found her on LinkedIn. She did interviews, got hired. I have another example. I don't have a podcast for this person, but Tin identified that she wanted to get work in STEM and ed tech in the future. So she immediately went and updated her LinkedIn profile to say that she wanted to work in STEM or ed tech. Literally a few days later, a recruiter contacted Tin about a role in STEM. Tin went through the interviews. Tin got hired for the STEM job, right? So this is not like magic. This is just simple SEO strategies to help you stand out on LinkedIn in the same way that I leverage these strategies to get my pages, multiple web pages actually, to show up when people are searching for a career coach for senior UX professionals. I work with people at other career stages, but that's just the page I decided to use today. All right, so LinkedIn is a search engine. To show up in search results, we need to leverage SEO, which is about number one, identifying the words and phrases that you want to show up for, and then writing quality content and enough volume of content on that page, in your case, your LinkedIn profile, to stand out and start showing up in search results. On LinkedIn, though, search engine optimization also means optimizing like the content on your portfolio and actions you may take on LinkedIn, such as in that article about spotlights, turning on open to work, following companies you want to work at, engaging with people who work at those companies, etc. And when you do this, recruiters are going to be more likely to find you. And then you're going to have recruiters and jobs coming to you, and you might get hired just like Tin and Laura without even applying because people found you. And that is how you can get hired even in today's job market, literally without applying. So before I get to the Q&A, I want to let you know two things really. If you want to join me for a more in-depth, longer than 30 minutes, about how to leverage SEO on your LinkedIn profile and get more into the details of this, talk about the work experience section, what you should be posting on LinkedIn, etc. I'm running a live 2-week course in January, so after the holidays, where we're going to fix your LinkedIn in detail and go through a lot of this and more over 3 live sessions. It includes templates, it includes Q&As, and today, well, actually until tomorrow, Wednesday the 26th, at 9 a.m. Eastern, you can get $100 off with the code Black Friday. So I will link you to that in a moment. But like I said, when people do this, they get hired without applying. So let me put this on LinkedIn here. How do I do this? LinkedIn, fix your LinkedIn. Whoops. All right. There it is. And I guess I got to put it on YouTube too. There we go. So that is happening in January. But like I said, Laura is one of the examples of people who got hired. Tin is another one. I think Tin is next. Yep. Wanted to get hired in STEM or Ed Tech, updated LinkedIn profile, recruiter messaged me. Long story short, interviewed, got the job starting next month, has already been in the job for a while because that's, I don't know, probably a year old or something. But that is the power of updating your LinkedIn profile with SEO in mind. Because at the end of the day, LinkedIn is a search engine. And on that page I linked to this, you're going to see other things I have available to you. I'm doing this 5 days of UX deals right now. So if you need help with your resume, portfolio, other things, you'll see it all there. The one thing I will say though is if you're thinking to yourself, I need help with everything, my LinkedIn, my resume, my job search, my portfolio, etc., then you might want to consider checking out my UX Job Search Accelerator Career Strategy Lab. That is linked on that same page, so you can find out all the details there. But if you join Career Strategy Lab, then this would be included. All right, so I said I was going to link you to Laura's podcast episode because the VP of product found her on LinkedIn. So I'll do that now. Here we go. There's that. And then I'll drop it on LinkedIn. Oh God. Okay, there we go. Now I said I was gonna look at some questions here. So let me go over to LinkedIn. Is there a limit on how long the LinkedIn headline should be? Yes, and I don't know the exact character count, but when you go to edit it on your own, you will see it. So I forget what it is. This is also a great use of, AI. If you create, an initial version of your LinkedIn headline and it's too long, right? You could use ChatGPT to kind of give you ideas of how to wordsmith it to get a little shorter, etc. So just go edit it. How do you edit it? Someone asked. You go to your LinkedIn profile. Let me just go to mine right now. You just go to your LinkedIn profile. It's pretty simple. And then there's an edit button right here. And then you edit it. I'm premium, so mine might look a little different. Headline. Okay. And the headline is 220 character limits, right? I would not choose to write with AI. Personally, I just think it's probably going to make a lot of the mistakes, right? It's going to be vague, generic. It's going to say, I want to use design to bridge business gaps with user needs and change the world. That's probably what it's going to say. Not good. So that is how you edit your LinkedIn profile headline. Obviously, to edit your banner, you just click that. And let's see what other questions there are. I just want to pop over to LinkedIn. Okay, someone sent me a private message, I think. Let's see. That question doesn't really make sense. All right. We're going to move on from that question. One thing that comes up quite often is the question of, should I put literal number of years of experience in my LinkedIn headline? Some people are concerned because they think, isn't that going to, make me more prone to ageism? Isn't it going to reduce my chances of getting hired? Won't people think I'm going to be too expensive, etc.? If you don't want to put a literal number, you don't have to. You could say mid, senior, junior, VP, VP level, whatever. So you could use like a descriptive word to describe your career stage, kind of. So there's that. But I think too, like I have a whole podcast episode about ageism in user experience. I'm not going to be like toxic positivity and tell you it's doesn't exist. It exists, obviously. And at the same time, I think it is not, there are companies, there are people who are hiring that want your experience, right? That recognize that if you have 15, 20, 25 years of experience, they're not going to jump to conclusions that you're outdated and don't have anything to offer. And you probably, am I still streaming? Because my window just crashed. Man, I am not having a good relationship with Riverside this month. How would I know if I'm really streaming? Okay, we are, I guess. So that LinkedIn crashed, but we'll go back over here. We'll go back to my slides. Um, Ageism. So the point I was trying to make is sure, ageism exists, and it doesn't mean every person involved in hiring is going to be automatically cutting out candidates with not enough experience, too much experience, etc. So um, in your LinkedIn profile headline, use a number, don't use a number. But my point is, let's try and make that headline communicate more than just your job title and your current company, what you do, um, types of products, types of industries, career stage, etc. All right, I think we're going to wrap this up. So that is all I have for you. This LinkedIn course is $100 off until Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. But if you want help with like your resume, your portfolio, or your job search, you want critiques, you want like more than just LinkedIn, then on that page I linked you to, you can find out more about Career Strategy Lab, or just go to careerstrategylab.com. All right. Hope this was helpful. Hope you see your LinkedIn profile in like a totally brand new light. I know many of you had never thought of your LinkedIn profile like a web page that you need to SEO optimize. So now you know. All right. I will talk to you guys later. And by the way, if you found this live helpful, I haven't done like lives like this on LinkedIn and YouTube in a long time. Let me know in the comments. Like, I would love feedback. I would like to know that people actually watched, because I'm actually not sure. The interface here is kind of confusing, but let me know that you were actually here live, so I know I wasn't just talking to no one. All right, that's all. Have a great rest of your week, and maybe I'll see you soon.